I'm Jason Sipe, and this is the Indiana Libertarian Update for the week of January 30th, 2017. We have a double-barrel blast of Libertarian interviews this week. Rodney Benker checks in with information about this year's convention, and Susan Bell gives us her story as an elected judge right here in Hagarstown, Indiana. We got that in just a few moments. But first, let's check on Libertarian news and events from around the state of Indiana. We juggle the screens here a little bit. First things first, we're going to Johnson County today. We'll be checking in with the Triple Play Barbecue in Franklin for the Johnson County Libertarian Barbecue. If you haven't had a chance to check in with those folks down there in Franklin, Indiana, be sure to do so. It's a great and lively group of libertarians there on the south side. Be sure to stop in and say hello to them. Also, if you're in Marion County and like to offer some input on the transit proposal, it has been approved by public referendum. In order for those funds to be allocated for public transportation, it still needs to pass through the City County Council. This is expected to run late this evening, although the meeting is scheduled to kick off at 7 p.m. and run till 8:30. The public comment section of this meeting this evening is reserved for the last portion. So again, if you'd like to get downtown in Indianapolis and offer your input on public transportation, you can do so this evening. A little later this week, on tomorrow being Tuesday, join the Hamilton County Libertarians. They're going to be headed for the Barley Island Brewing Company there in Hamilton County. I did have to say that if you go there, be sure to give us a report on their Scotch eggs. They look just wonderful. And you can also give us a report on all the libertarian stuff too, but the beer and food looks really good there in Noblesville, Indiana at the Barley Island Brewing Company. Be sure to check in a little later this week at the Comedy Grinder. They'll be hosting Zane Zadie as part of their weekly fundraiser for the First Church of Cannabis. First Church of Cannabis also meets on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. If you haven't had a chance to stop in and check out their regular services or any of their other events, be sure to do so. They're on the south side of Indianapolis, 3400 South Rural Street. And tell them the Indiana Libertarian Update sent you. Okay, looking a little forward in the month, on Thursday of next week, the Libertarian Party of Morgan County will be having a thing down in Mooresville at Ralph and Ava's Cafe. Looks like a tasty place to get together and enjoy some good food and some quality libertarian fellowship there at Morgan County, there at Mooresville in Morgan County. The State Central Committee will be having a meeting before the convention. That'll be happening on Saturday, February 18th at 10 a.m. at the Antelope Club. I understand these are not the most exciting things in the world, but if you've ever wanted a chance to check out the inner workings of the state party, this would be your chance to do so this Saturday, February 18th at 10 a.m. At the Antelope Club in Indianapolis. Now, it's taken us weeks to make this happen, but we finally got Rodney Benker in to give us some information on the state convention. And he chats with us for just a few minutes about that. And once we wrap that up, we'll come back and catch up with Susan Bell. Well, hello and welcome to this special treat for this week's Indiana Libertarian Update. The gentleman in the big box with me today is Mr. Rodney Benker, our Vice Chair of the Libertarian Party of Indiana. And we are happy to say that he is here to pass along details for the 2017 Libertarian Party State Convention here in Indiana. Rodney, what's the word, man? We've been waiting.
Jason, thanks for your patience, and I apologize for the delay. There's a lot of people involved in getting this convention together, and it's been a long, drawn-out process that nobody likes to wait for because we're all ready to sign up and get ready to go. But it's finally ready. The website is up. You're able to either get to the registration page through the event on our Facebook page, or just go straight to the LPIN.org website, and you will find that on the very top navigation there, 2017 convention. It will have all the basic information. We have some really good speakers lined up for this year. Another really cool thing about the convention is it's going to be held in a casino in Evansville. We know it's a little bit of a drive, but then we've got a lot more entertainment value this year than we've ever had before. So it's not going to all be boring and meetings and business as usual for a Libertarian Party convention. There'll be something fun to do for everybody this year.
Okay, sounds fantastic. So it's going to be the first weekend in May, Friday, May 5th through Sunday, May 7th, there in beautiful Evansville, Indiana, at the Tropicana Executive Conference Center. So, as far as accommodations, do we have any promotions, any ways to sign up? I had heard rumors that we have blocks reserved for Libertarian Party Convention attendees.
Yeah, we do have a convention room block reserved with the Tropicana Executive Conference Center. That's where the convention is being held. If you go all the way down to the bottom of the page that you're scrolling on now, you'll see there's a phone number to call them. You definitely want to call on the phone. Don't do it through their website because we have a special passcode to get you the room deal. Rooms are first come, first served. So if we get more than the 80 rooms that we have blocked off reserved, you're paying regular price, or you're going to have to find a different hotel. There are other hotels in the area, but to stay in the same hotel, the casino, the area where we're having the convention, you probably need to get on that sooner rather than later. The phone number for that is 1-800-342-5386. Again, that's 1-800-342-5386. And the passcode is Gilbert, Gilbert. And that's where you get your room deal. And rooms are $108 a night, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I'm showing 109 here, and I got to point out a typo. According to this, it's not Gilbert, it's Glibert. Glibert is the password.
Glibert. I said it wrong. It's Glibert.
Yeah, that's 109 bucks now. As far as the event itself, it's going to be a little interesting this year because there's not a lot of work as far as nominating candidates, although we do have some work from the state level. Talk to me about some of the people who we can hear speak at this year's convention.
We have more speakers online than what we already have on the website. What we put on the website right now are our guest speakers again from outside the party. We have a few people, including myself and Lindsay Marie from Evansville, speaking during the convention as well. However, our embassy for the convention, the person that's getting the convention started, he will be there from Friday to Sunday, is Libertarian Party Vice Chair Arvin Vora. He's going to have his own breakout session, workshop later in the day for candidate training. Arvin's been running that for the LP nationally for several years, so he's developed some really good techniques. I've gone through his course. It's definitely worth the effort and the drive to go down there. And even if you don't care about the convention per se, in my opinion, it would be worth to go see Arvin's breakout session, training session, if you were interested in becoming a candidate and running for office as a Libertarian in Indiana. It's really good information there.
I follow Arvin.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say I follow Arvin, and one of the things that really fascinates me about Arvin is his work in education. He's really at the forefront of libertarian concepts of education, and I would look forward to chatting with him about some of those views down in Evansville for the convention this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't say that his methods or his system is the end-all be-all of libertarian candidate training, but it's definitely a good perspective. I think that if you wanted to be a well-rounded candidate and learn how to convey your message well, Arvin is definitely a good person, a good resource to learn from. Also, we have Senator Laura Benker. Sorry if I mispronounced that. She is a senator from Nebraska who just changed to Libertarian. She's doing a lot of speaking right now in the Libertarian circles. I think I just saw it passing through on Facebook in another day or two. She's having a live AMA, online question session. So that should be interesting. You might be able to find something like that or find something about that on Facebook. I'm not sure.
Now,
we also have. Okay.
Go ahead.
We also have Paul Charchain, who is the CEO of LeagueSafe.com. There's several people very excited about that. He's going to be talking with us about government regulations in online gaming industry. His company is the Fantasy Sports League. So he's been very successful with that, and he's very knowledgeable when it comes to government regulations on internet gaming as well. Did you have something?
Well, it sounds like we have. No, I was just going to say, it sounds like we have some very solid speakers lined up this year. Now, as far as the packages, now, as always, if you're a Libertarian Party member and you just want to vote during the business meeting, you can show up and attend free of charge, correct?
Business meetings always free for any Libertarian Party meeting. They're always free and open to the public. There is the ability to register for the business meeting for the free part of it. You don't have to do that. However, if you do want to vote, there's two things that have to happen if you are not a delegate to the convention already. So first, to become a delegate, you need to be involved with your local county affiliate. You need to get nominated by them to become a delegate to be seated as a voting delegate at the convention. Now, most of the time, we do, as a body, vote to seat any member as a voting person in the convention as well. So what that means is more than likely, even if you're just a member of the Libertarian Party of Indiana, but you're not a delegate and you go to the convention anyway, you have probably a 99.5% chance that you'll be seated as a voting member of the body at the convention. However, you do need to be a member, a paying member of the Libertarian Party of Indiana, and that has to be valid, I believe, 30 days before the convention.
Okay,
so
30 days, yeah.
And on the and then on the website that's also explained on that same page for the convention.
Okay, and I've got the right now on the share screen, and I'll be sure to pass along these link to this.
Okay.
I'll be sure to pass along a link to this here in just a little bit. We have the information about the rates for the convention packages, standard package, Saturday only. Student packages are available as well, so we'll make sure that we get that information along. Now, so we've got a great place. We've got some very interesting speakers. We have reasonable rates. What can we expect as far as some of the politicking that's going on? It sounds like we're going to have a contested race for chair. Any other word about what we can expect for officer elections this year?
That's going to be probably the biggest thing there. I don't know if anybody has decided to run for vice chair or not at this point. I haven't heard. I am excited about running with some of the other candidates that have stepped up to run for chair. I'm happy to work with any of them who have voiced their opinion so far or voiced their willingness to run for chair. So I'm excited for that, and I'm excited that 2017 is going to be a huge year for change for us. The top two contenders for chair at this point in time are both on the same page as far as my page as far as what we need to become as the Libertarian Party of Indiana, and a big part of that is fixing some of the infrastructure that I'm working on right now to be ready to tackle 2018 with a vengeance.
Absolutely. Well, Rodney, as we get a little closer to the convention, will you come back in and fill us in on any of those, as any more details as they become apparent, political or otherwise?
Yeah, absolutely. I hope to, in the next week or two, have at least, if not the complete itinerary ready for the convention, maybe a little bit more detail and maybe some time outlines for everybody so they know about what time things are going to happen. We're trying to flesh that out a little bit, and I do want to go into a little bit more detail about what we're doing for the party as far as infrastructure, technology infrastructure goes, updating our data and management systems.
Well, I know communication and data information is crucial for a political party in the modern era. Before we wrap things up, what's going to be the drop-dead day for, now you mentioned that there is a limited number of hotel packages. Is there going to be a drop-dead day to actually sign up to attend online for the convention?
No, you can buy the packages up until the day of. The big thing there, though, is just your membership. I mean, if you want to be a voting member and come there and participate as a Libertarian, you've got to be a member 30 days ahead of the convention.
And would you prefer that people sign up and pay dues to the national party, which makes them a member of the local party here in Indiana, or should they become members of the Libertarian Party of Indiana? Which do you think is the best option for prospective members in 2017?
Well, if you've noticed, I never really mentioned the National Party option. I've always I tend to try to get people to become members of the Libertarian Party of Indiana because that's where we can affect the most change. Now, I'm a member of both. I know a lot of members of the LPIN are members of both. I'm a member of both because I want to help our efforts here in the state and keep part of my money local. And I also want to help the efforts on national and help other states get ballot access. But I can tell you right now that in 2018, that's going to be a really big year for the LPIN. Everything that we're doing right now, all of the effort that we're doing right now, all the money that we've allocated to spend right now is all getting ready for us for 2018. So that membership due and becoming a 1994 society member, something to look up for you if you don't know what it is already, is going to be vital for our party in 2017 and 2018. So I would very much appreciate you becoming a member of the state party rather than becoming a member of the national party. If you
Absolutely.
have a choice between
We don't have to. We'll decide to go with the state party here and keep it local here in Indiana. All right, Rodney, thank you so much for joining us today. Any parting thoughts before we let you get back to your busy day in the name of liberty?
I like that. Just keep it in the name of liberty. And again, I look forward to 2017 and 2018, and I look forward to speaking with you guys and Jason again here in another couple weeks. And I look forward to running for chair or vice chair again for the state party. I really love doing what I do.
Okay, well, we're going to hold you to that and look forward to you throwing your hat in the ring for vice chair for 2017 at the state convention. Rodney, thanks so much, and we'll see you next time on the computer.
Thank you, Jason.
Now let's learn more about one of our elected libertarians from here in Indiana, Susan Bell. Hi there, Jason Sipe with Indiana Libertarian Update. So happy to be joined today by Susan Bell. If you're not familiar with Susan, she has a unique distinction in all of libertarian politics. She's an elected official, serving as a judge out in Wayne County over by Richmond. She lives in Hagarstown. Some of you know her as Rex's wife, and there's so much more to Susan than that. But she's also one of the greater enigmas of the party here in Indiana, in my experience. We don't see her at a lot of meetings. It's not like she does a lot of campaigning. You might run into her at a convention, or you might see her tagging along on some of Rex's exploits in the last year or previous campaigns. But we definitely need to get to know Susan Bell. Susan, by way of introduction, what am I missing? What else can you tell us about yourself and who you are?
Well, besides the fact that I'm Rex's wife, I'm Emily, Michael, and John's mom. I have those 3 children who are married, and they have blessed us with 7 grandchildren. That's my pride and joy of life. I am self-employed. I have an upholstery shop there in Hagerstown. I reupholster furniture. And on the side, I'm a town court judge, Hagerstown Town Court Judge, elected in 2003 the first time. And that's what I do with my time.
So how many times have you been elected now in that role as town judge in Hagerstown?
I was just elected for my 5th term in November. We were running a campaign for Rex for governor, so I kind of, I was in the background, but that was the last election. It was November 2006, 16. First time was 2002.
Well,
3,
one of the
2003.
Well, and let's go back. Let's go back to 2003. There, one of the bits of libertarian folklore here in the state of Indiana is the only way that you would agree to run for office that first time was if you were promised that there was absolutely no way you could get elected to be judge and it happened. Is there any truth to that bit of mythology in our history of the Libertarian Party in Indiana?
That is absolutely true. The history of the facts of that was there were several people sitting around our kitchen table, and they had filled the ballot for Hagerstown for the election for the town.
Mm-hmm.
And the person that was supposed to run as for the judge's position bailed that night. And I was the only one in the room that was not on the ticket, and they needed to find somebody. And Rex said, "Susan, would you do this? There's no way you can get elected." I said, "Oh, no way I can get elected? Sure, we'll fill the ballot." And then
That first time around,
that's the rest of the
did you
story.
do much in the way of a campaign, or were you one of us classic Libertarian paper candidates?
Well, no, I wasn't a classic candidate. I did campaign. I have a little bit of a
Mm-hmm.
competitive nature, and we do live in a small community, and someone within earshot made the remark that I wouldn't get 3 votes, and I thought, well, darn it, now I'm going to have to try to lose by 3 votes. And I won by 3/4. I think it was 75%, close to 75% of the vote. But I did campaign, and I did go door to door, and I knocked on every door in Hagerstown, and several people said they voted for me because no one had ever asked for their vote before. No one personally asked for their vote before, so they voted for me. I didn't have a law background. I did run against a incumbent Republican who was an attorney, and so
Mm-hmm.
she didn't campaign very much because she was pretty much of a shoe-in. And being in Wayne County, um, Democrats run as
It's
Republicans
that
so that they can get
Republican.
elected. I mean, it's a very strong Republican county. So having a yes, so having a third party, we weren't taken seriously. So when that was brought to my attention, my
Well,
competitive nature
we're very fortunate that your competitive nature did take hold.
took the back
Compare
of me.
those first few elections to the campaign that you'll run in 2016, and where you were most recently reelected. Is it still the same story? Are you still out pounding pavement?
Not as much as I did the first time. I do still attend, as many functions as I possibly can, and I shake as many hands. We're in parades, and we have booths at the local Jubilee Day fairs and that type of thing. But door to door, I haven't done that.
Okay, and that leads to my next question. What's it like being the libertarian in a small town? Are you between the two larger parties?
Well,
Are
I
you
don't
your
really
own
think I'm in
person?
three like
Are
an
you treated as an
outcast.
outcast? What's
I
it like being the libertarian in a small town in
I
Indiana?
try I try really hard to respect their views, other people's views, and listen to what they're, talking about. I'm not I know that I no libertarian can get elected unless the Republicans and Democrats vote for them. So they've treated me with respect. At the beginning, I think everybody was just kind of shell shocked, and so the first probably 3 months of taking office was a little difficult. They didn't know what to
Absolutely.
expect. They thought, I people didn't know me. The police departments didn't know me, and they um, they had this preconceived notion that libertarians were pot smoking, whatever. And then when they met me and talked to me, I feel respected. I feel like um, the party politics in in a small town in a judge's. I'm not in a legislative position. So, that's been pretty good. Now, when I went in and I had a little trouble because the incumbent
Hmm.
was shocked, and so were the other people in the offices, and so everybody quit, and I had to hire new staff, and I had to I can't wear a robe. Took they took the robe out and had to look for files and that type of thing. But once we got our staff in place and got things underway, it's been fine. I They're easy to get along with, and I feel like I'm pretty easy to get along with.
Well, and that's absolutely. I think anybody that's met you knows that you're one of the most easygoing libertarians you'll come across, elected or otherwise. Um, and I know that you can't speak in a lot of detail about this, but do your views as a libertarian affect your take on the law? Can you think of any instances where the libertarian perspective
Well,
on a situation
there's several
was
things
backed
that,
up by the word of
not
law, or,
several,
or
but a
similar
few things
situations?
that have come into my court that I really have a difficult time with, seatbelt being one of them. We have a lot of seatbelt violations, and I struggle with that, but I took an oath, I've got to uphold the law, and until we can change the
Mhm.
law, I have to uphold what is there. And I have had some situations where the defendants were pretty upset, and they thought that I would just throw out the law, and I can't do that. So I mean, I had one guy come in with a seatbelt violation and $25 in pennies, and kind of
Mhm.
threw them at me, and I then he realized, he said, "Wait a minute, aren't you Susan Bell?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And he said, "Oh, here." He took him to the bank and brought back a 20 and a 5 because he knew, without me saying anything, he knew. Because there again, you go back to, it's a small town, and I'm a libertarian. People know it, and they basically know how I feel about that type of law. But until we can get that changed, my hands are tied. And for the most part, people have been pretty understanding
Mhm.
about that. Mhm.
Absolutely, absolutely. Of course. Any creative sentences you've been able to
Yes,
come up with in your time as a judge
I
there at
really
Hagerstown?
do. I mean, that's all laid out. I thought going in that I would have more jurisdiction over that
Really?
type of thing, but I really don't. And I do believe that at the beginning, and I'm not sure that it's still the case, but I was watched pretty
Hmm.
closely. The first trial that I had, that I presided over, I had
Of course.
a room full of state troopers that wanted to see if I was going to abide by the law. So, um, and that's just the way it is. I just have to. And until, and but hopefully with people like Jeremiah and Rex and all these other guys that are working so hard, I shouldn't have named anybody's name because now I have left out so many. Now everybody's going to be mad at me, but they're the ones that have to forge forward and get these laws changed. I kind of have to stay in the background and do my job.
Absolutely. Well, and it's one of those things that this is kind of fascinating for me because I understand completely that in 2017, when the laws are so many and so intricate that there's probably little room for latitude on the part of a judge like yourself. I didn't
Well,
realize there was
I
no
wouldn't
room,
say
and
that
that's
there
kind of what
isn't.
it sounds like. Is that
Well,
from the crime to the punishment, everything is prescribed by
it
the
is prescribed by state. I
by
mean,
the
you have a
state.
little bit of leniency on, like in my situation, I do a lot of traffic tickets, and you've got some leniency on fines, but not on court costs.
Hmm.
And so far, and it's been several years, it's hard to dispute a traffic ticket, a speeding ticket. It's either you did or you didn't. And a lot of people did say, well, I did, but I don't want the ticket. Well, I can't do anything about that. You know, you either did or you didn't. So I was disappointed in the fact that
Of
I
course,
don't
of
have as
course.
much leniency or
Well,
jurisdiction
do you see
on this.
yourself sticking? Do you see yourself sticking with the bench? So you do plan to run for the foreseeable future?
Well, we just got done running. I've got 4 years. Would you ask me that again in 3 years? And I'll let you know. It all depends on where the family is at that point.
Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, of course, of course. And I'd also like to think that maybe in that amount of time we can point to dozens and perhaps scores of elected libertarians here in the state of Indiana. So we can have even a more of a passing of the torch if you've had your fill of the bench there in Hagerstown.
Well, and I'm
Well,
not
any
the
advice
only
for people
elected
who are
libertarian.
considering running for office or who might have ambitions?
Any advice for someone
Of
looking
course, of
to?
course.
I have advice.
Mhm.
I would just say, um, if you want to win, if you really want to win an election, you can't uh, belittle the other two parties. If every libertarian in the state of Indiana votes for me, I still lose. I have to be respected and be
Mhm.
respectable to to the Republican Democratic parties and their points of view. I mean, I don't think anybody wins
That's-
by not being respectful.
I
Respectful.
absolutely agree with you. I I absolutely agree with you, but sometimes it just hurts so much to have to work with the Republicans and Democrats.
Sometimes it does, and sometimes,
Well, we
doggone it, they're wrong, but they don't like being told that.
absolutely. You know, one thing I want to touch on, and I didn't want this to be a center point of the interview by any means, but one of the things I think is interesting, we so often hear that, you know, the libertarians are just a bunch of old white guys. When I look at the party here in Indiana, I see a lot of very active women. I see people of various ethnic backgrounds. Care to speak to that at all, as far as your experience as being a relatively high profile woman in the party here in Indiana?
Well, of course, there's more. I'm not the only woman in Wayne County that's been elected to the to an office. Uh, we have Cheryl Hecox in Wayne County that was elected. Do I have any thoughts on the diversity? I think that's an up and coming thing. I think everybody's just it's not it's not ethnic, it's not uh, race, it's not gender. We're all tired. We're all that's why we're growing. That's why we're um, not only are we right, and people are seeing that, but they're wrong. Now, now I'm going to lose the next
Yeah,
question.
absolutely. We've got such a nice broad base of individuals that compose our party, and I think Indiana we do a good job of having diversity. And it is much more than that ethnicity. It's people of different education levels, it's different economic backgrounds as well. Well, all right. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. Any parting thoughts before we wrap it up?
I would just encourage people to pay attention and get involved, run for office. Thoughts would be I really encourage everyone to get involved. run for office if you don't want to be a state legislator, maybe a county commissioner, maybe a park board member. Could easily become park board president pretty quick. Just when you do shake hands, ask for votes, and be respectable and respectful.
All right. Well, Susan, thanks so much again. Once again, we look forward to having you join us hopefully in the not too distant future. Wish you the best of fortunes, and give our best to Rex and all the other folks out there in the eastern part of Indiana. And we'll look forward to seeing you on the computer.
Okay.
Thanks to Susan Bell for joining us on the Indiana Libertarian Update. She did ask me to pass along that Rex is continuing to improve, that he is still having some issues as he recovers from the stroke he had shortly before the election. But if you follow him on Facebook, you know that he is able to communicate, and he is back to his cantankerous self in many, many ways, but it is continuing to improve. Indiana Libertarian Update returns next week with National Libertarian Party Chair Nicholas Sarwark. We look forward to asking him about the last year as well as the near future of the Libertarian Party at the national level. If you have any questions you would like me to ask, be sure to send them my way as soon as possible. I believe we have him scheduled for Thursday of this week. So Nicholas Sarwark, we're very excited about that, and hope to encourage more people to check out the Indiana Libertarian Update as a result of that booking. If you have a news story, event, or meeting you want us to pass along, send us a message via Facebook or drop me an email. That's jsipe@sipesociety.com. Once again, that's jsipe@sipesociety.com. Indiana Libertarian Consult. Let me try that again. The Indiana Libertarian Update is a production of sipesociety.com. I am your one-man education and online content consultant, although it seems I have trouble spitting it out at times. Until next time, I am Jason Sipe, and I'll see you on the computer.